Okay,
I have
we
my
need to bring a
connections.
level of respect back to, coaching and
Yeah,
administration and stuff like that. And honestly, when people get called out like that, they call
it's
out
dangerous.
the nonsense, and that's exactly what we need.
Y'all better stop playing with that boy.
Oh, the alignment's good for football on second thought. Dude, you crapped on it this whole video, man.
Sitting there like I have no clue what I'm doing. Like I was just keeping my hands out of it and people were just taking shots at her left and right. And it was, I mean, for me, it was.
Dude, he said, I have no idea what I'm doing. We know that. But what you meant to say was like, I had nothing to do with this. No, you called out a parent. I have never, ever, ever called out a parent, man. Never, never.
That's the bad guy. Bad guy. Bad guy. That's the bad guy. The bad guy. The bad guy. Commission. The bad guy. The bad guy.
And I'm the bad guy. What's going on, everybody, man? We're getting into a new season. Some of the videos outdated. For a minute or two, it wasn't even recording yet, but we're going into a new season, new realignment. A lot of people like the proposed alignment, and a lot of people are like, yo, I don't belong here. Some people are saying there's safety issues with some smaller teams being up in Division 1. Some people are saying Central Falls got hosed, being moved to Division 3. And they said, well, they won a Super Bowl a couple of years ago. And for their longtime coaches last season, they made a pretty good run. So their enrollment's down. A lot of people calling for East Providence's head. They said East Providence should be in D1. Somebody said today, East Providence has a D1 facility. What is a D1 facility, actually? Like, what? You have a gym, right? Barville has a gym. North Smithfield has a gym, right? Like, small schools have gyms. You have a beautiful turf field. Well, again, I'll go to North Smithfield, has a beautiful turf field. So, is that a D1 school? I don't know how new North Smithfield School is, but I'm just using them. I mean, Westerly, they have a turf field, they have a gym, but does that make them a D1 school? Hey, you ask some people, they say Westerly belongs in D1 because they've been in the playoffs since Dwayne Miranda, I think 1 year, excluded when Dwayne Miranda took that program over. They've been consecutive inside the playoffs, going to the semis, all but a couple seasons. Should they be D1? Woonsocket, back-to-back championships, 2018-19. But do a lot of people remember when Woonsocket got sat down by their own administration for 2 seasons? So a lot of these teams, it's easy to say, well, they're a big school. But if we go by the enrollment argument, a lot of people are going to say, well, we need to go by enrollment. Then we're going to have Hope in Division 1. And we're going to have Tollgate in Division 1. We're going to have Coventry in Division 1. And all these big schools, Woonsocket, so there are a lot of, big schools that just don't have good programs, So teams moving around, over 20 teams that are projected to move. And one team that's projected to move is North Smithfield, Coach Piver, going from Division 3 to Division 4. Now, this is all proposed, everybody, so nothing's in stone. What's up, Coach?
How we doing?
All right, not bad, man. How was your holidays?
Good. Yours? Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you as well. I was just talking about the realignment, and you was in Division 3. You always said you'll play wherever they want you to play. But you like to rebuild your program. They move you down to Division 4, which a lot of people said you belong in Division 4. And I said, shame on you, Coach Pennington. You brought them to them back-to-back Super Bowls, and you're being punished for that success with the weighted six-year rule. How they're going back 6 years. How do you feel going down? If everything stays the way it is, how do you feel going from 3 to 4?
I'm mixed, right? The competitive side of me wants to stay in 3 and wants to fight and wants to to play some of these teams that have kicked our butts over the last few years, and wants to kind of prove to ourselves that we're doing the right things. But I think that would be selfish on my part. I think what's best for the program is going down and reestablishing ourselves and earning our way to go back up to 3. I think if we do our jobs over the next few years, we'll go back up, and that's kind of the nature of the beast.
You know, a lot of people have done that. Barville has done that. Moses Brown has done that. You know, they went backwards to 4. Moses Brown went all the way up to 1. You know, that experiment didn't work. They came back to 2. They went back to 3, and that's where they remain now. Division 4. This is, you know, I kind of like the setup. The only thing I'm really shaking my head about is Narragansett being in 37th spot, you know, winning back-to-back Super Bowls in 2 different divisions. You know, being competitive, having a down year last season. The QB goes down. They just couldn't figure it out. But do you like the lineup in 4?
Yeah, I think for the most part, from what I've seen, I think they've got it, I don't know, 90% right, I'd say. And it's impossible to be 100% right. You're never going to please 100% of these 43 teams or whatever it is. It's impossible. But I think they're a lot closer today than they were a couple of years ago when they realigned.
Now, Division 4, it looks like is going to be 10 teams. 23% of the state's teams will be in Division 4. Where is it? Game cap of 9 games prior to the start of the playoffs. Teams must compete 8 games to be eligible for the playoffs.
Yep.
Flexible regular season options. Now, here we go. Teams that choose 80% will be assigned 6 games versus teams in their division. Teams can also choose 50% if you feel, you know, I don't know how Division 4 is going to say, nah, I don't feel we have to play down, you know.
Right.
We want to play, we heard there's a new middle school league coming out, you know. We want to play them. So you want to explain for some people, if you understand, like, why would a team go to 50% route?
Well, if they feel as if they want to challenge themselves a little bit and maybe pick up a Division 3 game here or there, I could see a school wanting to do that. But I think Division 4 is going to be a little different than the rest of the state. I would be surprised if too many people are jumping outside the division. I think Division 4 will probably stay inside of Division 4 and kind of play each other, and almost hold a true Division 4 schedule. I'd be surprised if teams are jumping all over the place to play other teams.
Yeah, no, not in this division. I think this is going to be a pretty locked up division. Now, you know, Central Falls might not want to, you know, because there's still a questionnaire that's going to go around the coaches, athletic directors. And they said, if you talk to any of these coaches, tell them, be honest, man. Like, this is the time that they need to be honest. We need to get in a room, hammer it together, and figure out a good realignment for the kids.
Yep.
You know, for the kids to play a safe, competitive football season.
Yep. And I know where Central Falls was probably feeling. I've been there. You know, they weren't even able to play their Thanksgiving Day game because they didn't have enough kids to finish the season. So to sustain that in the division that they're going to be in is going to be extremely, extremely tough. You know, getting your kids to show up every day and fight the fight isn't always easy. You know, we've been there, done that. So I can certainly sympathize with where they sit.
Yeah, coach, because the way I think that they're going to do the scheduling is going to be the top half's going to play lower half. You know, basically your better seed plays the worst seed, pretty much just like in the playoffs. That's how they set it up last season. So you might have EG and CF. You know what I mean? The top half. So CF might be playing the top 5 of them teams on the top, and there's some experience there. Chris McCall over at Classical,
Mm-hmm.
you know, good experienced players over at Ponagansett. You know,
Yep.
Rogers, you know, they have a good coach over there that, you know, they had a down season
Yep.
last year. Coach Blake Simpson, Pilgrim, always has them kids ready. I think he had the tallest wide receiver core in the state last season. Johnston brought back some great Hall of Fame coaches, you know, Coach Centrone, who was the coach over
Yep.
at Cranston East. You know, he had a great coaching staff, good quarterbacks, you know, so there's some good teams. And Cranston East moving down, you know, 2
Yes.
consecutive realignments. Cranston East is moving, and a lot of people are kind of, you know, saying, why is Cranston East down? You
If
know,
Cranston East,
I'll
if
get to
Cranston East
that.
gets a big turnout where kids say, "All right, we're down in Division 3. I'm coming out to play football," Cranston East could rebuild really, really quickly.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And you know, I'll talk a little bit more about Cranston East coming up, but you know, Cranston East has they have a historical you know, they had longtime coaches, Coach Trafficante. I think they're winning their first championship back in 72, you know, and then you have Coach Centrone, and then he retires from there. He ends up over at Johnston, and then you bring in Coach Isaiah over there. So, you know, Isaiah is the shortest coach. Coach Centrone been around a while. You know, Coach Trafficante. Everyone from Cranston knows the Trafficante name, but this is how this division is going to be, and then Division 2, which this division, I think it
That
looks
division
good.
could be a banger.
Yes, absolutely. You know, you definitely got to you got to put when soccer definitely has to be in there in the conversation. So you're gonna have 12 teams, 28% of the teams in the state. There's going to be a game cap of 9 games prior to the start of the playoffs, and teams must also compete 8 games to be eligible for the playoffs. There's going to be a flexible regular season option. So teams that choose 80% will be assigned 6 games versus teams in their division. Teams that chose 50% will be assigned 4 games versus teams in their division, and there will be no subdivisions. These are going to be straight up divisions.
Yep.
Teams are going to have the flexibility to schedule opponents of their choice, like we talked about earlier, or to the game cap, the playoff format. Seeding now is going to be the RPI, what I've been posting about all week, ranking percentage index in all leagues games. Basically, you want to take your winning percentage by your opponent's winning percentage by your opponent's winning percentage. Somebody said on social media, like, how are we going to know all that? And Coach Simpson said, don't worry, the league's going to do it for you.
Yep.
And he was like, oh, I feel great about that. You know, so, but I guess they have a program and they're going to calculate all this for you guys. So we'll see how this goes, man. You know, RPI, you know, what do you think about RPI? Do you know much about it, Coach?
I've been reading a little into it. I mean, the bottom line is going to be win the games that you schedule. So if you feel you can jump up and play up and win that game, schedule it. It'll give you an opportunity to get a leg up and to get your strength of schedule. It's kind of like how college football does it. You know, if you're playing the bottom of the NCAA pool, your RPI takes a hit, and when it comes time to fill out a tournament or fill out a bracket, your team, whether you're undefeated or not, might get left out because you haven't played anybody. I don't think that'll be the case in our situation here. You know, especially for where we are, Division 4. if we win our scheduled Division 4 games, it won't matter what we schedule outside of that. I don't think the strength of schedule is going to affect it. Where it might affect it is in a tiebreaker situation. You look at the two teams. Yeah, they played a tougher schedule. They got the same record, so the team that played the tougher schedule should get the higher seed. So, it could work. We'll see.
Yeah, good. Definitely. I think Division 4 looks pretty decent. Very, very competitive division. I think you're in a good place. One that everyone's talking about, Division 1. Some people are like, oh, what side is Hendrick going to be on? LaSalle. Nope, they're all going to be on the same side. Now, here you see the top 10 of the state's ranking systems. We have Hendrick in first, LaSalle in second, North Kingstown third in the state. Cumberland drops from 5, drops down 1, being runner-up in that state championship. One of the commenters said the other day, Cumberland lost a Super Bowl and a Thanksgiving Day game within a week. And I was like, ouch. I was like, that does kind of sting.
It's tough to come back and win a Thanksgiving Day game when you're so deflated from losing a Super Bowl. It's tough to regather. So I can see it happening. I mean, happened West Warwick, same thing, right? You
we
lose the
watched
Super
West
Bowl.
Warwick, yeah.
You lose the Super Bowl game. It's tough to motivate yourself to come back 5 days later and play a football game.
Absolutely.
No matter what the rivalry is, it's tough for 17, 18, 16-year-old kids to put disappointment aside and come back and play. It's a tough deal.
Because Division 1 is going to contain 10 teams. 23% of the football teams in the state. There's a game cap of 9 games prior to the start of the playoffs. You have to compete in 8 games to be eligible for the playoffs. That's like, because I guess they don't want a lot of teams kind of sitting down or forfeiting, and that's probably why they put 8. But I thought it was like a third before. You had to do at least a third of the games. But flexible regular season options, and of course the 80% if you choose it. 80% is kind of normally what you do when you have the 2 non-league games. If you're gonna go with the 50% schedule,
Yep.
where you pick 50 and the league will pick the rest of your games. And I know a lot of people are like, oh, why do we even need the league if we got coaches and athletic directors have to picking games? And I guess they feel because people are going to say we don't belong in this division, and they're saying, okay, well, here's half of your pie. Tell us where you belong. Tell us who you can be good competition to. So I'm really not going to kill the league for that. I don't like Burrillville in Division 1. I think they were a competitive Division 2 game. And I know some people hate when you come, it's a safety thing, but it really is when you only got, 25 kids that could play in some of these big games. I remember a game against LaSalle. Burrillville got 4 minutes to go. You look around, it looks like Hacksaw Ridge. You got injured guys all down the sideline, and it's like whoa. And I know it's an embarrassing for a coach to get to that point, and it's hurtful for the coach, and especially you see kids that you care about that are hurt and on the sideline. And but Burrillville, they're in a tough situation. But I'm thinking now, what did they say that you have to, let's see, 8 games. So if the league picks half of these games for you, I doubt that they're probably even going to put Hendrick or LaSalle in there. So you get half of the games here, and I think Burrillville can compete with a lot of these teams, except when you get up until, Central. You're asking a lot for any team in these small division to compete with Central. They're tough kids. They play to win. they look at it like they're stepping on a battlefield, man. Mount Pleasant as well, but they're not in this division. But I think Burrville can compete with a lot of these kids, and I still understand the safety issue. But if I make the argument for Burrville, I have to make it for Portsmouth as well. We've seen them struggle last year, Coach Fiver.
Yeah. Yep. And I think the way it's going to go is if you choose the 50% and it's 4 games, they're going to say, all right, those top 3 teams are the top, the middle. So 4 through 7 would be the middle, 8, 9, 10 would be the bottom. We're going to give you 1 game from the top, 2 games from the middle, 1 game from the bottom. You schedule the rest. So I think it'll be kind of standardized how they assign, like Burrville isn't going to get assigned Hendrick and LaSalle, North Kingstown, and Cumberland as their 4 games. That's not going to happen. So they're going to try to mix that up a little bit.
So we'll see what happens. So listen, guys, coaches, I would suggest start reaching out to some coaches. How you want, do you want to play this game? Do you like to play this game? I think, like I always bring up Wesley. I think Wesley's going to end up putting Central on their schedule. I think they're going to try to get a couple of these other higher ranking teams because, if we are going by the ranking percentage index, it's going to go by points. So you want a couple higher seeding teams to play. And Division 4 teams, it's not a bad idea. If you think you could be competitive against a Division 3 team, or say even a Division 2 team that you think that, because let me say, you look at some of them D2 teams and very, very beatable. East Providence, very beatable on any given day. East Providence has really, and it's no disrespect to their staff, but they haven't really had a winning season in quite some time. I think the best they came in is 3rd place a couple of years, and I'll go back to 07. So I think that, can you beat some of these teams? Tolman, they're always scrappy.
The $1 million question is, if a team is looking to play up, is there a big incentive for the team that's up above them to accept that game, right? So if they're going to be somewhat decent and they're going to be looking at their RPI, them playing a lower division team might not necessarily benefit them. So that's going to be the trick, and that's going to be the game, right? You're going to have to find teams above you that are willing to or looking to play down. Otherwise, there's going to be teams up there that if they take the game, it doesn't help them at all, right? Them beating a lower team doesn't help them one bit.
Because you look at these Division 2 teams, from what I was told, a D1 team, losing to a D1 team isn't much difference than beating an average Division 3 team. There's really not a whole lot of difference in the way that the RPI points are going to do.
Yes.
A
loss against a really high-ranked team isn't going to hurt you.
No. So a team that's scheduled all lower division games, and let's say you go 8-2, against all teams that, Division 2 plays down to D4.
Yep.
Right. And they finish 8-2. And then you have somebody that's 6-4 that plays equal to higher teams.
Yep.
Should the 8-2 team be ranked higher? No, that's not how
necessarily.
It's going to work.
That's where that RPI is going to come into effect.
Right. And that's going to be basically, you're going to need your opponent's percentage, your opponent's win percentage. You're going to need their lot and plat number, their social security number, and you multiply all that together. Coach Fulton made a great comment. He said, you need this winning percentage and divide it. He said, you need a accuracy. I guess it's a math position in some insurance companies, accuracy, or I can't even figure it out. But yeah, he was like, you're gonna need a mathematician genius. And Coach Blake Simpson said, no, you don't. RAIL is gonna do it for us. So we will see, Coach. But
You might need a little bit of a crystal ball though, because I don't know if they're going to be going off of last year's power rankings or if they're going to go off the current schedule. So you could schedule a team thinking that they're going to be pretty good. They have a tough season, they struggle, and all of a sudden that RPI win isn't going to be as good as you thought it might have been in March when you scheduled it.
all right, because Shea could make a turnaround, and Shea could run the table this year. And last year, Shea, they blow off East Providence, right? Because they're thinking, oh man, let's go play EG. We might have an easier time with EG, and EG wiped the floor with Shea.
Yep.
So you play one of them teams that you're thinking, and now they turned it around. You know what I mean? Shea turns it around, and Shea's very good. So now so did that work out for you? Or
Yep. So all of a sudden, a team that you banked on saying, all right, this is going to be my RPI builder, all of a sudden they haven't won a game all year. And, all of a sudden it's not such an RPI builder anymore. So you got to you're going to have to kind of look into the future a little bit and find teams that you are pretty sure are going to be decent.
No, right. Exactly. My son over there at the Providence Journal said that dude, man, it's like sometimes you got to think before you talk.
No one's going to give you more coverage. No one's going to be at more games. No one's going to be more informed. I'm not just some guy sitting in his basement spouting off about who's winning games and who's doing what. We're real. The rebellion is real. Providence Journal coverage is going to be real this year. It's almost here. 3 days away. Listen, no.
He wants to beat my son so bad. He's the rebellion, He like, let's go. But he said that we should do the RPI for seeding, but let's do the playoffs by school size. I'm like, oh my God. He's been on this trip where he thinks that you should put Charahoe, EWG, and Westerly in the same division. We should do it in the region and stuff, in different school size. But like, imagine EWG playing with a team like Westerly. These kids like up here, they breed football. This is a football town, and and I say that because HighSchool.com had the top 10 freshmen in Rhode Island, and they had a poll. And of course, you can go vote as many times as you want. Well, the 3 Westerly kids had over 2,000 votes apiece.
Yep.
And the next closest kid was 200 votes. So that was like, and that's just because these people in this town, I think Westerly and Burrville are 2 of the better sports towns in Rhode Island, but they care about football. They love their football program. But speaking of programs, man, what's going on in North Smithfield?
We're coming off the new year, and we got ourselves going again. Coach Insco's got our weight room going, so we started our off-season lifting on Monday. They'll be back at it again tonight and Friday night. So it looks like
Coach Insco probably wanted the kids in the gym January 1st. He was probably like, let's go. Coach probably was like, no, relax.
He was ready to get going, I think, before Christmas. So we've had to hold them off a little bit, but we need guys who are excited to come into work. And it was a decent turnout for night 1. We're hoping night 2 and night 3 this week get a little more traction. Before we make our big push when the winter sports end. There'll be a couple week gap between the winter and spring sports. We usually have a lot of kids in the weight room at that session.
Absolutely, man. So you graduating class last year. I know your graduating class 2 years ago was special to you. Every class seems to bring in something special.
Yep.
This class you developing a quarterback last season. You know, he was pretty on point, man. I think we'll see something special from North Smithfield this season.
Yeah, I think so. We're really really excited about our sophomore and freshman classes. Um, you know, and not to say anything negative about our senior class that just left us, because those kids did a terrific job of picking up the pieces after a tough off season the year before, and um, you know, they had some leadership stuff that they had to learn and fulfill. So my current seniors that are going to be graduating this year, um, were really really good for us. Uh, you know, TJ and Aiden did a great job captaining the team with Sam from Mount, and you know, I'm super super proud of those guys. But we do think we have some really good young talent in the program, and we're excited to see where it takes us.
You know, and something else that I want to mention in 1 second. You know, one of the programs that also come out of North Smithfield, Mount St. Charles, is the Southern New England Admirals, back to back Super Bowl champs, runner up the year before, and now they're just coming back celebrating a national championship. You know, so congratulations to the 2024 undefeated Admirals. They went down to Florida. They won the Natty 32-12, taking on the number third team in the country. And I just want to salute that whole program.
Absolutely. You know, congratulations to those guys. Winning a championship at any level is never easy. So it takes some work, and those guys have been great in our community here in North Smithfield this year. And I was able to make a couple of games and was able to do a clinic with those guys early in the season. They were energetic. They clearly love to play football, and you know, they're passing some of that along to our kids, and you know, we're happy for them.
Absolutely. You know, shout out to the owners of that program, you know, doing what they do. So if you ever have a chance to support the Southern New England Admirals, maybe they got T-shirts for sale, whatever, you know, support this program. You can catch their home games up at the North Smithfield home field. What is the address over there?
Oh, it's Providence Pike. I know that. I don't know the
So
number.
Google Providence Pike, North Smithfield High School. You can't miss it. Brand new, beautiful place, you know. And this is like a working man's league. And these guys they're so in sync with each other. You know, so many guys that are involved in Rhode Island high school football, they're involved with the Admirals. And I'm glad they brought it home to Rhode Island, you know, to be based out of, because it's definitely, I know your youth program up there love these guys, you know, they
Love them.
really, you know, so yeah, support the Admirals, man. Congratulations to all the coaches, the players. They got the Natty, man. Natty,
Yeah, that's a
you
big
know,
deal.
32-12. So shout out to them guys for doing what they do, coach. You know, all great coaches up there.
Definitely, 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 definitely.
Hey, Coach Piver, man, we talked about the alignment, and some people are kind of curious of how we all got to this place. And up on the screen, I'll leave this up there that, you know, this is great. Basically the weighted alignment, how they did everything. I believe it's like a 60, 10, 10, 10, 20. It goes by a 6-year weighted wins and then a 2-year percentage wins. Your weighted tournament success, and then at the very end, a very small piece, like a very small piece, your school enrollment. So, take this math, you add all this stuff up together, you divide it, and you come up with that great formula that a lot of people say it is optics, but there it is. Coach Coach Piper, man, salute to you. Thank you, man. All you kids out there in North Smithfield, get out there to the high school. You see Coach Piper, sign up. All the seniors, you are required to bring 2 guys. Not 1, 2 guys this year. You are required. That's a hidden rule. We ain't supposed to tell you that. But
that's the
I'm
goal.
telling you, there you
Come
go.
see us
Bring
in the
2.
weight room. Yep, come see us in the weight room Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and get yourself the information out there. I grab everybody's phone numbers that come in there, so when the season starts, that's our start. We call those guys first, and come on out.
And
There's
freshman
nothing.
parents, I know you think it's rough. Yes, it's gladiator sport, but you know what? These kids are so protected. The helmets they use are sent out every year for
Yep.
reconditioning, research, the shoulder pads. These schools spared no expense when it comes to protecting these kids. I mean, you put one of them, the pads on the shin pads, all that stuff, I mean, you are pretty protected. I mean, kids are going to get hurt. I mean, you can get hurt crossing the street, go get the mail.
Yep.
So come on out to these teams. You want to ask the coach, son. Coach Piver's on hand. Over there, a lot of people know Coach Piver. You can't miss him. He's about that tall. She's even walking through his house. He said, "Oh no, the phone's angled." I said, "Yeah, right. You're gonna knock a hole in that beam up there." But Coach Piver, man, much love, much respect to you. Respect to all the coaches out there doing their thing. A lot of football information went out this week, though. I gotta say, Division 1. Before I let you go, I don't think we talked about this. What do you think about the 2 championships in Division 1 that's being talked about? Everyone makes the playoffs. You're gonna have a state championship. RPI is gonna determine the top 4 players, and then everyone else gets to go for. You got to keep everyone happy.
Yeah, and I think that's the goal there. Let's not sugarcoat it. Let's not pretend it's not the elephant in the room, right? There's 2 teams in that division that are clearly head and shoulders above the rest, and until everybody else catches up or somebody proves otherwise, those 2 teams are head and shoulders above the rest.
But if you ain't gonna tell you, you have an unfair advantage, and it's a very tall head and shoulders.
Yeah.
Because when you're reclassifying kids in middle school in the 8th grade, and and like I'm gonna say, everyone knows it's been done. It's continuing to be done. When private schools are reclassifying kids, when that 8th grade, when he comes up to be a freshman, he's really a sophomore. By the time he's a senior, he's really the size of an underclassman. And not only that, they're able to get the best kids in the state. They're getting kids from out of state. And so until you have where there's a level playing field, they might start counting your pathway kids next season. So until you get a level playing field, it's always going to be Hendricken and LaSalle bringing that D1 championship home, unless you have like a situation last season. LaSalle, they're injured or whatever. NK, brings enough steam to beat them. Central's always going to play NK tough. It is what it is. Them kids show up against Hendricken, man. And Hendricken shows up against Central. So it's always going to be them 2 programs.
There's going to be a point in time where someone jumps up and gets them. But I think it's going to be, at this point in the landscape of things, it's going to be few and far between. So, I mean, that's always the goal, I'm sure, for all 10 of those teams up there is to go out there and be number 1. But to set up the playoffs the way they're going to do it, I think it gives teams who look at their schedule realistically and say, the very best we can do is finish 3rd. It gives them an opportunity to say, you know what? Yeah, we might not be the overall state champions, but we could be the Division 1 champions. And, the competitiveness in me would be like, yeah, I want the big dog. If I'm going to be in that division, I want the big dog. But, you know, kids are different, right? 16, 18-year-old kids have to know, right? And they know that it's an uphill battle. So to have something, at least to be able to dangle in front of them, keep them motivated, keep them playing, it's a good thing.
Absolutely, man. Coach Piver, big shout out to you. I just heard that the Cranston East head football coaching job is going to be coming available soon. That's a rumor. I don't know how true it
Wow.
is. You had Coach Trafficante there for a while. You had Coach Centrone there for a long time. He was at Johnston before there, and now he's back at Johnston. Coach Isaiah, he was a long time coach there. Played football there.
Yep.
Was assistant coach there. Worked his way up to a head coach. I'm not sure what the situation is there, but yeah, a lot of guys be heading for that job. I'll tell you what.
Yeah.
That's an attractive job right now. It wasn't a couple years ago when they were in D1.
Yep, lots of kids with a storied history, and they're going to be down in a division where I think they'll be able to compete right away. So yeah, I would imagine that would be a highly sought after position.
Coach Cook has a love affair about that position. I guarantee Coach Cook will definitely be running over there. Him being big in the CLCF. Cranston where he reigns, and his family's big into the program over there. So yeah,
that would be interesting. I don't know if anybody would bring a more passionate approach to coaching that team and in that town. He's kind of had kids from Cranston go to where he's coaching. So to keep him in Cranston, that would probably be a really, really good fit.
Yeah, and I know Coventry would definitely miss Coach Cook, him having a lot of the football duties last season over there. I know Pontigansett parents are still hoping that he can come back there. But salute to everybody. Salute to you. Tomorrow is going to be a big Westerly school committee hearing, man. They got exposed recently. A parent advocate, Bob Caradillo, was asking him about the transgender issue and all this stuff, and says, do you have a policy? No, we don't have a policy. Well, he puts an OPA request in. What do you know? Since 2016, they have a procedural protocol in place, which is, almost as good as a policy, but everyone denied it. You couldn't find it on the website. You couldn't find it, in the school. You couldn't find it anywhere in the town, but you put a public request in and they found it. So that place is going to be hot tomorrow. So get out there to, I'll tell you what, some of these town council meetings are exciting. They're like a Cat Williams interview, But Coach Piver, man, thank you for your support always. Salute to you, and all your coaches, and tell Coach Eddie, man, let's go dig in. We're in 4. This is where they tell us we gotta be, and go win that championship.
That's the plan. All
right, Coach Piver. Talk to you soon.
Thanks for having me on.
Anytime. Right. North Smithfield head coach, Coach Piver, going into his 3rd season, I believe. If I'm mistaken, let me know. But Division I containing 10 teams right now, 23% of the teams in the state. There's a game cap of 9 games before the playoffs. You must compete 8 of them games to be eligible for the playoffs. So if you thought you were going to go in there and forfeit a game here, a game there, not going to happen. If you feel that you can't compete in this division, then you could tell the league, and they will pick 50% of your games, and you pick the other 50%. Yeah, they pick 50, you pick 50. We'll see how it goes. It might not be as bad as some are thinking it is. I know that, a lot of people are still looking at Burrville. Small school. Again, we got thrown to the damn wolves. We just got out of this situation. So we will see what happens. I'm still planning to have Coach Ferraro on soon. I got to get a hold of Coach Ryan McCormick up there at Division III Dartmouth football. Your seniors, man, a lot of these coaches are going to persuade you to go to Division I or go to Division II. Division III isn't where it's at. But let me tell you, with this transfer portal stuff, go pay attention how many Division I players, kids that thought they were Division I. Go look at how many kids are running to Division III. And if you are going to go to a Division II school, yes, I'm talking to you. Make sure it's a good educational program. Make sure that it majors what you want it to major. Don't go there because, it's D2. That's only one check the box. There's some D3 schools, you get more postgraduates. You get more academic money. They start off a lot cheaper. Like UMass Dartmouth starting off at $32,000. Don't put your parents in debt just to go to a school that you're not happy with, that you only going there because it's a D1 or D2 school. And a lot of you seniors that think you're going to college or want to go to college, but you're struggling, that GPA isn't really what it is because schools don't grade no more. We're going to hear from a school, someone that testified in front of a school committee that actually had a conversation with a teacher about grades, and the teacher said, we don't grade no more. We don't do that. I mean, the proposed alignment seems agreeable right now, except for a couple situations. So let's just fix it instead of reshuffling the whole damn realignment. But what do you think about the divisions? Remember, everyone's going to make the playoffs in Division I. It's looking. Division 4, how this is going to be. I believe it's going to be just the top 6 teams. So the top 6 teams are going to make the division. Division 3 is going to be a little different. I think Division 3, it's going to be the top 8 teams are going to make the playoffs. Don't forget, it's now by RPI, so it'll be a little different. In Division 2, also, 8 teams will make the playoffs, and you must complete 8 games to be eligible for the playoffs as well.
Provided by this channel is meant only for educational purpose only.
Wins, not everybody, the older coaches. They want to cry, they want to go to these RIIL meetings, and they want to cry, we're not competitive, we can't do this, and
now deal with it. We see what happened when the last dude tried to. Yeah, I bet he probably went home and cried too. I chucked the line in the cafeteria, lunch lady gave me a bowl of gravy, some mashed potatoes, and deal with it. So
time I pull the plug, the game is over. The game is over. It's time I pull the plug, the game is over. The game is over. I mean, I don't know what you want me to tell that. Everybody's like, football is a team game. Okay, it's not a team game. Okay, I did my part. All right, I put in a great game plan. I mean, these players, they're horrible. My players are no good. I mean, everybody's like, no excuses. I got 22 excuses. 11 on my offense and 11 on my defense.
Look back and you're gonna see the work back. Oh, they got no chance, like they stuck in the friend zone. Fly guy dropped the hook and then he run into the end zone.
I'll be a down till I die. Between the hedges looking fly. 90,000 in the stands, I'ma do my dance, make it look fine. Coach put me in the game.
It's more than a pigskin and shoulder pads. It's a way of life.
Ladies heading for first. We don't do no talking, we know what they do for the views. If I took a loss, no, I got it all back.
bad guy. That's the bad guy. The bad guy.